please.
Okay, I'm Andy Wasilewski. I joined UUFR late 70s, early 80s. Well, mid 70s. Really. Went for quite a while before I actually signed the book. I came here from Tallahassee. I was a member there for quite a while. Church there in Tallahassee. And I was one of the early movers of that church.
So when you joined UUFR, UUFR was meeting at the house on Hawthorne Street. Tell me about the raccoons at Hawthorne Street.
Well, the building had an outbuilding which was just used for storage of things, for the most part, that were never going to be used again. Anyway, and they knew there was a family of raccoons living in there, but because most of the stuff that was in there wasn't of much value anyway, they didn't really worry about it. But when they decided to get rid of that because it was in such bad shape, one of the family moved they scattered all through the neighborhood, but one of them stayed there and moved into their house that they were using for services. And at times it was quite noisy and scratched on things, and some people could smell it, had an allergic reaction to it. But every time somebody went up there to try to do something about it, they didn't find him. He managed to either hide or get out while they were up there. And I don't know, the wooden raccoon that I think is still in the building somewhere.
Right.
It just became a remembrance type of thing.
So was that raccoon a resident there months, years?
Better than a year, I think.
Did the raccoon ever sign the book?
And he was a little tiny fellow when he first went up there. They knew which one was missing. They knew where all the others were, and they didn't know. They hadn't seen this one, but it was one of the family. I mean, I feel sure. And yeah, he just became sort of a remembrance thing and a representative of something that represented the whole church.
Now you mentioned there were some people that had allergic reactions and the raccoon was noisy, but to some people was the whole raccoon episode sort of endearing? Did people enjoy the raccoon?
I think they even hired professional people to go up there and catch him, and they set all kinds of traps, and he wouldn't play the game. I don't remember the end of that story. I don't remember how they finally got him out of there.
So you, in the late 70s, early 80s, you were one of the first teachers of the AYS classes about your sexuality.
Yeah, I taught it the first year.
Tell us about that.
Well, it was the first. It was done together with the United Church of Christ, They went together on creating the program. And that changed the vocabulary some from what it would have been had we done it ourselves.
And how was the course received? Was it popular immediately,
It
or
was popular immediately in our denomination. It wasn't nearly as popular in the United Church of Christ.
why do you think that was?
Well, they're more conservative in a lot of ways, and it was consistent with what I knew about them at the time.
So in the late 70s, early 1980s, Reverend Francis West, who's the minister at the time, hosted a radio show.
Yes. She did what was basically an interview show, and she interviewed people, I think all from Raleigh, not from out of town or anything. But anyway, she interviewed early in the morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. She interviewed controversial people, usually just one, occasionally two. But I don't remember more than that.
And would
And
these
she would interview that person on whatever made them controversial. And then she would tape that interview and then play it after our service at UUFR on the radio. And she then would probe on whatever that made her think they were controversial to begin with, and try to get them to talk about it as much as she could. And then sometimes she would close, and not always, but a good part of the time, she would close by giving her view of whatever that was and how she felt about it. And she almost always made people happy that they understood at least the implications of whatever it was that they were. I thought it was very well done.